Welcome, Rob.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Living the dream. Hustling away.
You are. You're working hard. Working hard, but having fun.
Yes.
By the looks of things.
Yes.
So, I guess introduce yourself to everyone, and who are you? What do you do?
Yep. Yeah. So my name is Robbie Oz, and I am a sex coach and adult content creator.
Award-winning.
That's right.
Award-winning.
Right. Yeah.
Content creator.
Yeah. So I guess for me, a lot about what I do, and especially with my sex coaching and online courses, has been part of my own journey. What I've learnt, the path that I've been on, and I feel like a lot of men struggle with the same thing. So I went back and I put that in a course, and that kind of has taken its own course now.
Yeah. So, and you've released a couple of courses.
Yep.
A couple of online courses. And so I guess education's a big part of your focus.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I just think that, I feel like, through my 20s, I just had no idea. And when I kind of learnt a few simple things, it changed everything for me. And that's kind of why I think that being able to help make that change is pretty much my life's purpose now. It's like, make a difference.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, what's something, I guess, in your life that you think you've fucked up a bit, you haven't quite gotten right?
Yeah. Well, I think it was definitely that kind of early 20s, being who I thought the world wanted me to be, like who the Rob is that parents like, good for his girlfriend. I got engaged at like 22 or something.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, and how's this? I went on a trip with her to Thailand, and the first 2 nights she cried because I didn't propose to her. So the third night, that's like ultimate red flag. How did I not see that?
How long had you been dating for?
Oh, well, like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And she had it in her mind. She wanted to be married by the time she was 21. And so I think I was just like, kind of wanted to save the trip. And anyway, so I said, look, yes, we'll get engaged, but I don't want to even talk about a wedding until like 12 months' time. And anyway, we got back from Thailand, and she bought a wedding dress the day we got back from.
But she didn't talk about it.
I still remember in like where I was at the traffic lights when I found out that she bought a wedding dress. And I was just like, it was that feeling of like, nah. Like, and that was it. And we were talking about this before, like, when I decide it's done, it's just done. And from that moment, I was just done.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I guess, through that whole period, like, she worked for my mum. She was the right choice on paper. She kind of was polite and kind and and then even sexually, I kind of had these desires in me. But I was kind of trying to push them down a little bit. And, I think that, I guess through that, even like work and stuff like that, I was doing stuff I didn't love.
Yeah.
I was landscaping, and I did not love it at all. I was digging holes, and I think that was just limiting beliefs about what I could do. And like, I was always making just enough to get by every week.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably that, just not believing in me and not being authentic to who I was, and kind of numbing out and just going with it.
Yeah.
For like 10 years.
So I guess trying to make everyone else happy.
Yeah.
Not making you happy. Yeah. And so I guess why do you think you were doing that?
I think it's just like that conditioning in society of like, showing us like in movies, this is the guy, you know what I mean? And I guess the way my parents brought me up, my dad's kind of a bit like that. He was like the ultimate dad and husband. And then when he got drunk, he was like a wild lunatic. Yeah. So it was almost like the real him came out.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. And I look back now, and it just makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So I guess what was a turning point for you?
I think kind of rock bottom. Yeah, I kind of definitely got to a point where I was just the girlfriend after that, I pretty much repeated the exact same thing. And she actually ended up cheating on me. And, you know, I just kind of built myself up so much. I had no money, you know, and then I think rock bottom. And it was actually the people that I started hanging around with that made that shift. I kind of saw how you could live and how you could. And I actually went to Anthony Robbins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Like at the end of that relationship, and it was just like he helped me see the world in a different way, and just kind of more belief in myself. Like I know that lots of people think it's hoo-ha or whatever, but I went there and I was just like pumped at me, and I was pumped at life, and I just couldn't wait to like get out of that and start hitting it. And that was probably it. And then like, because he does talk a lot about, you know, the 5 people you surround yourself with and stuff like that. And I think I started hanging around more sexually open people that made more money, and then eventually got into Tantra, which was a total different world of like men that talk about feelings and just a different world. But I was like, oh, I kind of feel at home here, like like they're open sexually, and I was open sexually, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. What? So you don't have to be with one person for the rest of your life. Like I like that.
Yeah, because I guess you had a bit of a religious upbringing too, didn't you?
Yeah. I was Jehovah's Witness.
Oh man, it's amazing what that conditioning does. Hey.
Yeah, totally.
Because I mean, I grew up in a religious household as well, and yeah, it definitely makes you form beliefs around things, and it can take a lot to break through that stuff.
Yeah. And that's probably exactly what it was for me. It was kind of like, you know, putting the minister up on a pedestal of like, that's what the goal is. And then, eventually just going like, I'm my own goal in 10 years sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And kind of looking forward to that version of me, to the point where I kind of, you know, through different types of coaching and also eventually psychedelics, where I feel like I could see like the best version of me in 10 years. Now I can still see it. I can like close my eyes. I can see, you know, what he's doing, who he's surrounded with, where he lives, what he drives, everything.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a part of your journey as well. Yeah, psychedelics and plant medicine.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, massive. So massive. Oh my God. So firstly, so I did documentary filmmaking.
Yeah.
I did landscaping when I was young, hated it, picked up a camera, loved it. And I was lucky enough to get to a point where I was able to travel and do documentary films, and someone contacted me and said, hey, we do a plant medicine retreat. Would you like to come and film it? I said, no idea what that is, but yes. And then we got there to Nepal, and she was like, oh, do you want to experience the plant medicines? It's probably better for you to be able to tell the story if you get it.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, okay. And I did ayahuasca. And for those that don't know, you pretty much sit in a circle with a proper shaman, and you drink this little thing, and then you lay down. And for 6 hours, it's like the only way to describe it is you go somewhere else.
Yeah, wow.
And for me, that was like I was me, but I was me in another timeline. I had a whole different life, and I had a life where I had kids and a wife, and it was just like almost like I probably should have done it that way, but it's so real though.
Yeah, so I guess kind of like the sliding doors thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like how like an alternate universe, what life could have been like.
Yeah, if I didn't fuck up my 20s, that would have been my life.
I think I need to, actually, I don't know if I should do this. I'll probably wake up with lots of disappointment.
And yeah, when I came out of that, I remember being like, that world felt more real than this one.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, like 100%. I was just like, I couldn't believe that wasn't real. It just felt so real. And I got lots out of that. And I also did 5-MeO DMT, which again was kind of like an ego death sort of thing. But what I got out of it was like I'd been thinking about a partner and, you know, love and stuff like that. And in my journey, because I had a wife and 2 kids and there was so much love in that, it was like my love for me, my capacity to love was a lot higher for myself. And that meant I had more to give others.
Yeah.
And it was something that, a concept I'd never thought of until I felt it. And I was like, oh, I've got to love me more. Then I'll have room for other people.
Yeah. And I guess I can relate. I mean, I've got kids, and you kind of have that first kid and you're like, wow, how could I love anything more than this? Then you have another one, you're like, wow, I love that one. It's like that you get that real sense of love expanding. And I don't think I'd ever really felt that before then.
I've been practicing heaps, but I haven't been able to have any more kids myself. Yeah,
not that you know of.
Yeah, don't contact me if you.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the video of that DMT experience. Fuck.
Yeah,
that was intense, man.
So DMT, you smoke it through a pipe. And it's 5-MeO DMT, so it's 10 times stronger than the DMT, the synthetics that we get here. And it's pretty much you smoke it through a pipe, and then you see me go limp, and they kind of catch me and put me to the ground. Yeah. And then I was just screaming for about 10 minutes, like full on screaming, like furious, like. And eventually, I just kind of what I felt like. It's hard to remember what I felt, but in a nutshell, what I felt was all the regrets, all the mistakes that I'd made that I was holding on to. It was almost like just letting them, like getting them out of me. It was like I was screaming them out, purging them out. And then I felt the sun hitting me at a point and where it was just like, it's okay, you know, it's okay. Like we all make mistakes, and like that idea of oneness that I never got. I always just thought it was like something that Deepak Chopra spoke about. Yeah. But I felt that oneness. Like when I laid down on the grass, I was like, there's ants everywhere. I don't want an ant to bite me. I don't know if I want to be on the grass. And when I came out of it, I was like, I am an ant. We're all ants. And I was like trying to get these big ants to crawl on me. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, wow. And I remember you saying to me at the time that you felt like it was like a rebirth.
Yeah. 100%. Like just, and I think that the biggest thing was with that is we make the smallest things into the biggest deal. I know that you're having a sort of we make the smallest things in life, in society, into a big deal. And I guess the fact that I was over in Nepal where poverty is quite high, and you see these kids that are just loving life, or these, you know, the people at the stores that are so happy to see you. And it's like, they don't have all these things that we have. And it's like, they enjoy the small things. And so I kind of came back with that of like, I remember when I go back to Australia driving and this person cut me off and I was like, oh, he must be having a hard day today. Good luck on your journey, sir. But I remember like we've all been in stages in our life where I'd be like, oh, he cut me off. I'm going to catch up to him. Yeah. So I guess just that was probably a big change.
Yeah. Wow. So I guess you felt like, you know, you weren't being authentic to yourself, living life for everyone else, went through, I guess, a bit of an awakening, a bit of a transformation. And, you know, through, I guess, surrounding yourself with different people, Tony Robbins, which, I mean, even I was around your place earlier today and you disappeared and all of a sudden Tony Robbins on the TV screaming at me. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. and that's actually how I start every day.
Yeah.
Jesse's, my friend's been at my house as well. And as soon as I woke up, I put it on. It's like, that was awesome. What was that? It's just to like get your head thinking about the right things. If you wake up and you're immediately into reaction of like, oh, I've got to put out this fire, I've got to put out this fire. Or you can choose to get your mindset on point. And it's like, right, I'm going to kill whatever comes at me today. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I guess those, it's easy. I guess it's easy to get carried away and just, you know, life can get so hectic. You just charge into things, but without setting yourself up right first.
Yeah. It's like, and I actually remember saying this at Tony Robbins, and it's always stuck with me. He got someone up on stage, and he was just standing there, and he just like he's a big guy, just pushed this guy over. This guy fell down on the ground. He's like, now get back up, stand there and set yourself strong, you know? And he goes, because I'm going to push you again. I'm going to push you harder.
Yeah.
And he pushed him, and he was obviously firm and he was solid. And he's like,
ready for it.
That's your life.
Yeah.
You know, you need to set yourself up. So if the things come, and they're going to come, that are going to want to knock you over, that you can stay tall and stand against it. So that stuck with me.
Yeah. Because my problem is I like jump in front of the car. It's not necessarily shit it's just naturally coming for me. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm going to like jump in front of this moving object. How do you prepare for that?
Like body armor.
Oh dear. Cool. So yeah, plant medicine stuff. I guess, you know, where did it go from there?
Look, I think that a big one was at some stage, I think it's a combination of it all, but also definitely when I was doing the plant medicine, a lot of people, especially the lady that ran the retreat, Kate Gray, she was like she had this mindset of like, I'm a money magnet. She's like, it doesn't matter what I do, money's going to come to me.
Kate Gray.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I didn't know that too.
Yeah. She ran the retreat. And like just hanging out with her and her mindset of like, she would not take anything than second best for the people around her. And I remember real early, she called me out. You said you're going to be here and you won't be here. I know it's not a big deal because it wasn't a big event, but you did give me a word that you were going to be there. And she called me out on it, and she's like, I'm really good at having awkward conversations because these are my standards. And I just remember going, fuck, this is good. You know what I mean? Because immediately I was like, right, I know that's her standard.
Yeah.
For the people around her, and that's why she's, you know, built multiple $1 million businesses. So my mindset just somewhere really got shifted into that of like, of course I'm going to nail it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to nail it. And I deserve to be financially abundant. And then it just kind of flowed from there, and it's happened.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So, I guess in all of that, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I mean, definitely. I mean, it's easy to say, but definitely learn those earlier.
Yeah.
You know, when you kind of waste 10 years of like your 20s to 30s, not waste, but I definitely feel like if I would have had that, like people were telling me that stuff, but I just wasn't ready to hear it, I guess. I had to fuck it up a few times before I was like, wow, this really isn't working.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm almost 40. I'm still there.
Yeah. Anything else? I think it's just like, it honestly doesn't matter about anyone else in this world. And I think like on a deeper sort of part of me, like I feel like everyone else, I'm just making up with my mind, and that this whole world is just revolving around like me, and like now that I'm choosing what I want to do and you know what's around me, it's like, yeah, like I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but it's just
you're creating your world.
Exactly.
Creating your reality.
Like I think we all know those sort of people that all have constant dramas, right? and like I could be wrong, but I feel like, you know, that's probably they might be thinking about those dramas, so it's kind of like
you're manifesting them into your world.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like I hardly let any negativeness like come into my bubble at all. Like with all the stuff that's been going on with COVID, and people have tried to like get me on the conspiracy theories and, you know, so on. Yeah. And like I'm not, nope, staying in my bubble, happiness, love, joy.
Yeah.
And that made me maybe a little bit naive, but it's also, I don't feel like I can change that. What I can change is what I focus on and what happens to me, what I associate that with. So what I can do in return for that, because I feel like, you know, two people can get cancer. One can go, right, this is going to make me stronger. I'm going to be the better me. And the other one can just give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So no matter what it is, every day we've got a choice on like, take that 5 seconds. Like I love that, count backwards from 5, give yourself a little bit of a chance and then make your decision.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, boom, reactive.
Yeah.
Generally that's the wrong reaction.
Oh, yeah. And that's, I'm a very reactive person. I don't count backwards from 5 much. And it's definitely part of my learning journey at the moment is to definitely, think more before I do things and say things.
Yeah, I remember actually, it took me a while to get in that habit, and then I listened to the audio book of that lady, Susan, damn, we might have to put that in the links, but it was her, the 5 second rule is her book.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember just listening to an audio book like at least like 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped me get in the habit of like slow down, count backwards, So and then it's kind of just became a habit from that, but it took quite a bit of like ingraining to get it going.
Yeah. Practice. So there's hope for me yet.
Yeah.
So how long ago was, I guess, all the plant medicine stuff?
Maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Is that long? Maybe not that long. 4 years.
I feel like we've been locked down for 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was definitely well before that.
It was. Yeah. So I guess where to from there? Like you've kind of said how you're the master of your own universe. You're creating this reality. What does that reality look like?
Yeah, well, actually, so the second time I did ayahuasca, same crew, same job, was in Mexico, and I like what I'm doing now was what I did on the ayahuasca journey. So I remember,
wow,
yeah,
that's what you visualized.
Yeah, so I had that second 6 hour pack was like me having my own YouTube channel, and like crazy things like I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna have 1 million subscribers and stuff like that. And like seeing me help other men, and being successful at it, and like celebrate. I remember celebrating during this journey so much. I'm like, I did it, and like having the people around me that love me, and I was like, I made a difference to so many people. Yeah. And at the time, I hadn't done none of that.
Yeah,
but from that point, I think because I'd already felt it. I've already got through the hard times. The hard times were actually easier because I felt like I've already done this. I know I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's like you know what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah, and I'm focused on that outcome. So when these things hit me, I'm not really even focused on them. I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to go to the next option that's going to help me get to that outcome.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then coming home and making the YouTube channel, and so many people being like, what the is this?
Yeah.
And, getting to a point where I had like 10 million views a month on stage. It was just like, what is that? But that only happened because I had that like belief that I could do it.
Yeah.
Even though it was a bit wild.
Yeah. And I guess it's like anything in life. If you've done it before, then you can do it again.
Yeah.
So I guess was that that trip or that experience like doing it the first time?
Exactly. And then now I feel like sometimes even when I'm going to sleep, I have these visions of me, and like I said, in that 10 years. I'm my own hero in 10 years, and I've got that vision of me and what he's doing. So it's like, again, I'm seeing it and experiencing it, which I think takes practice, really experiencing it. Like I have this vision of me like owning this apartment and like running my hand along the top of the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And it's like so detailed. Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. And I guess it makes sense. Like I've heard a lot about, visualization and seeing things and manifesting things, but I guess to think of it in that sense that it's already a lived experience. Makes reliving it.
Yeah. And not being afraid to dream big too. Like I always think of Obama. Like someone telling me this story about him of when he was like a young boy having a vision of himself as the president. Like think of how like outrageous that was.
Yeah.
But he had that vision and like it never would have happened unless he was like, I think I want to be the president. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just think of like how outrageous that was.
And especially at that time.
Exactly.
Like back in when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Black president?
Yeah.
No way.
Exactly. but unless he had that little thought and that dream,
it
never would have happened.
Yeah. So when are you going to run for Prime Minister?
They're definitely. Yeah.
You'd probably do a better job.
We'd be a lot more open.
Yeah, cool. So so how did you start? So you kind of went through that transformative experience. How did you start to put that into practice?
I just started doing it. Like literally I had that vision of me at the end, and I just started like I remember when I got home and I was just working crazy, and I was just like doing whatever it takes to get to that end goal. So it was, but like I said, I built my YouTube channel, I built my online courses. I just learned how to do a lot of that. I was lucky that I had a few skills like the photography and stuff. And I built websites and stuff like that. So I had a little bit of that nerdiness.
Yeah.
But it was just literally like just getting going and just making a list. And like I said, if something didn't work, I just go on to the next thing and just keep going.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So what would you tell other people facing the same kind of, I guess internal crisis that I'm living life for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, what would you, if you get them and shake them by the shoulders, what would you say?
I think it's just you really need to get a vision of you that you love. That's the thing. And like I think I had that in both. I had the vision of me being a dad and a husband, and like me loving me. And then the second time I went in, it was like the me doing the me. Like the experiences that I wanted to have and the influence that I wanted to have. So you really need to get clear on that. You don't have to go to the Nepal or Mexico or
you can't at the moment.
Yeah, actually, I'm selling ayahuasca. No, I'm not. But yeah, look, you really have to go that to that depth inside, because it's easy to say, like, I feel like once I got home, the whole, like I burnt the boats, as far as like the best way to take the island is burn the boats, and I wasn't turning back. I was just going to do what it took. Yeah. But I think you really need to have that vision of you that you're just so passionate about, and it's going to drive you through those hard times.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's probably something a lot of us don't have. A real clear vision of ourselves.
I mean, you're doing it at the moment. You've come up with the 40-year-old fuck up, and you're
That's
doing
just
the
who I am.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
Like, okay, so for you, for example, you've got that vision, but a big part of that is helping other people, right?
Yeah,
it's helping
absolutely.
other people not fuck up so much. So
yeah,
I think
learn from me.
Yeah. And I think that when we have other people, I think it's like in sales, like I've always loved the idea of people ahead of product. So it's not just about the product, it's about how you're going to impact people.
Yeah. And that's something that you do really, really well. And from me knowing you and seeing your success, definitely you giving and investing into other people's, it's paying dividends for you.
Yeah, win-win.
Yeah. So I guess, what are you doing? What are you doing now? What does Rob's life look like now?
Yeah. So look, I guess as far as we touched a little bit on the sexuality stuff, but definitely became more open with that, to the point where, like I said, I did a bit of the swinger stuff. I did a lot of swinger stuff, and like I just loved again that they were open-minded people. And then I got into the tantra, and that was kind of more like breath, sound, and movement, which helped me, I guess, connect mind and body, and get back to kind of that sexual like high that you had when you were like a teenager. Yeah, and everything just blew your mind. And then so I did the sex coaching, and then that led to like me doing tutorials, like how to squirt and stuff like that. Yeah. And then eventually, I got into like actually doing like my version of what porn is, because I'm not a big fan of, like, I guess the porn that we see on Pornhub or stuff like that. So for me, it was like, well, let's make it real. I do love, group stuff and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like a bridge of both. Like I say that it's a part entertainment, part education. So talk about like erectile dysfunction, like how I last, or, like even as a guy, like I think when you do a lot of those things that you struggle with women, with yourself, like change how you self-pleasure and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I guess there's not, I think about my education around sex and intimacy and relationships. And I went to a private Christian school for a lot of my schooling. Grew up in the church, so I guess what I've learnt in probably the last 5 to 10 years is that my conditioning, my view of all that stuff was very, very impacted. We were always taught that sex is the highest form of love, the highest expression of love. That it binds two souls together, and that's why it's kept till marriage. And other than the very, very practical, this is how a penis goes into a vagina. You're not being taught much at school, and then you're a teenage boy, you discover porn. And back when I was a kid, it was it was scan websites. People get like Playboy and Penthouse Mags, scan them in and upload the pictures to a website, and that was what we had. And I guess our education around it is a bit distorted.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't come from a family that was open to talk about it.
When you did finally get to watching porn, what influence do you think that had on you?
I think for me personally and my development, nothing was too hardcore back when we were kids. You look at what's out there now, and I've often joked with people about creating an app, right? A porn app for young guys. And it has to mimic real life, right? So some nights you open it up and it says, "I've got a headache, sorry, not tonight." For a week, once every month, it just shuts down. You can't access it. It just starts off with kissing and heavy petting and like progresses you through. I think the access that kids have to really hardcore pornography sets this expectation of what their sex life's going to be like.
Unrealistic.
These poor teenage girls are being confronted with guys that, are watching pretty fucking hardcore shit on the internet. And what you're not seeing in porn online is how to actually build a relationship, how to build any form of intimacy, how to woo someone, how to make someone feel comfortable and loved.
Any foreplay at all?
No. No, you just spit on it, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think my experience as a kid was probably fairly okay in the sense that it was just some boobies and the odd vagina, from Penthouse and Playboy magazines.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. Is that it generations now are being exposed to that extreme stuff real early. Like it wouldn't be hard for a 12-year-old to stumble across some hard stuff.
No, not at all.
Whereas I've always kind of in my head, because it's been that for most of my life, I've kind of thought that has always been the way. But yeah, you go back not that much further and it was magazines. So it's a total different ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I guess there was even potentially more romance in movies then as well. It was probably a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I guess everything was. I have a mate that would download movies, and every now and then he'd say, "Oh, give me a hard drive," and he'd just fucking load movies onto it. Obviously, before Netflix and all that kind of shit, and every now and then he'd throw a fucking dirty movie in there as well. And I don't know why he got like, it was like a mock-up of The Love Boat, that old like 60s TV show called The Sex Boat. And it was, I didn't find it erotic at all. I found it fucking hilarious. But it was interesting to see like what was around then.
Yeah.
And there was storyline. There was, you know, oh, Captain Jack, oh, you're sweeping me off my feet. Now fuck me. You know, there was context around it.
There's no, that's gone, isn't it?
There's
really?
no context on Pornhub when you're watching a 15-minute clip of someone just getting pounded.
Yeah, like or even like my ones that always get me is like, I'm stuck in the washing machine and I can't get out. My brother will have to fuck me. It's like, just imagine a 12-year-old watching that. Oh, you can do that with your sister?
How do you get stuck in a washing machine?
Yeah. It's like he could fit in there with her. How is she stuck? So I guess like going into that, and I've actually had to refocus myself a little bit lately because it is easy to get carried away with, you know, when you're able to do that sort of stuff on camera and get paid for it, be pulled more in the kind of traditional porn direction. Yeah. And I shot with someone recently, and Lauren.
Yeah, good friend of ours. Yeah.
And she's a sex coach as well. And we sat down. This is how I'd normally kind of do it in a if me and her would have sex. It was like we talked about boundaries. You talked about, you know, what do you actually enjoy about sex? You know, we talked about so it was almost like I had this long cheat sheet of how to make love to her effectively before we even went into it. Yeah. And then we kind of spoke, we'd really like to have feedback during it and stuff like that. So like it was really good when I started doing what she liked. She was like, that's super close, just a little bit firmer and slower. And then it was literally like firmer and slower. And it was just like, you know, she was like going wild. Yeah. And it's like, even for me, I was like, I need to start having these conversations with everyone that I film with because it's going to help men realize you don't need to spend weeks, you know, trying to work out what she likes. Yeah. And then like, because I have had conversations with a bunch of girls recently, and they're like, oh, we all just fake it. And it's like, if you fake it once, right, he's going to think that whatever he was doing at that time was the thing. So he's going to be like, right, I've just got to do that thing again. So all you need to do is train someone to do it well once. Yeah. And then he's going to store that and be like, oh, that's what she likes. She likes it when you do the both. Or I wonder how many inflated egos are out there because people just aren't honest with each other. I know. And like, I'm the fucking man. Yeah. And I felt like I honestly went into working in the adult industry thinking no one had ever faked it with me. And then me realizing, having this moment of like, I have no idea if they're being real or not. Yeah. Like actually, like I was like, did you? Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. You know, and I was just like, wow, this is a thing. So it's like that then made me think about, I'm going to get this cheat sheet and I'm going to record the cheat sheet so they can see like what are the right questions to ask. Yeah. And I guess even like if you look at, you know, even monogamous, you know, committed, intimate relationships. I mean, sex is such an important part of that connection and that chemistry. Massive. For couples that have grown up in a culture where you're not being honest with each other, you're not being honest with yourself, you're not knowing how to communicate, you've watched a whole heap of porn and you think, oh, this is what women fucking love. You know, women that have perhaps watched porn or been influenced by that are like, well, this is how I need to respond and react. Yeah. And then we have all these inauthentic relationships, people that really love each other. Yeah. But there's this downfall to this like critical aspect of their relationship. Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably when a lot of cheating happens and stuff like that, when they feel like they can't experience that. They can't talk about it. And then an outside source offers this, you know, path. And I think that is, to me, and like for me, especially like we spoke a little about it early, like embracing my own desires because they were a little bit different outside the norm. And then, like I said, it was probably when I did a bit of my self-work and I probably hang out with similar people where I was like, hold on, like this is normal to have these desires. Yeah. And I think even when you are with someone, it's only natural to have that for someone else. It doesn't mean you have to follow through with it, but you should be able to talk about it, or if you know, something changes, because like when you're together for a long time, you might go through a few different desires, and at least being able to, I guess, communicate about them is a big deal. And I guess, you know, building that trust and that honesty and openness, you know, from the very start. And if people learnt that at the beginning, how to just communicate, drop the ego, communicate. Yeah.
have an authentic experience from the very start, like how different would lots of stuff in our life be?
Something like one of my favorite things that I ever learnt was when you're, it is a good lead up to sex, is sitting across from each other and being like, one person just speaks and one just listens. So I'd say I feel, and then I just start coming up with things that I feel. And you're just like receiving and saying, thank you, what else do you feel? Or you're just, and I don't have to worry about you coming back at me or whatever. And it just gives you a chance. All of a sudden you're speaking about things you didn't even know that you felt.
Yeah.
And then these things just come out and you just feel so much lighter getting it out. And as the receiver, you're like, I've always felt like honored that they're willing to open up to me.
Yeah.
And that you want to receive that well, because you always want them to be open and honest and not have to hold it in because they're worried you're going to bounce back. And it just creates almost like a habit of being able to hear each other out. And, and then from there you can go down, something I love about you or something I'm scared of. And again, you can just start, kind of before you know it, you're talking about things that, you love about them and you admire it and la la la. Or, when it comes to sex, I feel like I'm not really, loved by you, or you don't look at me in the eyes, or, probably actually not that you don't look me in the eyes, you'd figure out your experience. So I feel like I'd love more connection with you. You know what I mean? So that's a perfect example of like blaming them versus like, I'd love more connection with you. I'd love to look you in the eyes while we're making love,
Because it's very easy for people, like in my experience, and I definitely, I guess, need to learn how to communicate better. Whenever I've tried to express my feelings with people, in any situation in my life, I haven't quite nailed how to do that without the other person feeling defensive and like they're being attacked. I guess it comes back, I am a very reactive person. It's something I am working on. But yeah, I guess one thing is creating the space to hold that in as well. Because even in work situations, in relationship situations, in everything, I guess, I always feel like I want to express how I feel.
Yep.
And I think in my head, well, nothing can be done about it unless I voice this.
Yeah.
But then I fuck it up somehow in my voicing it.
Yeah. I think that what you just kind of saw happen with my mouth, that then saying it the wrong way first and then going back, normally because I am in the habit of giving myself that little bit. So it only took me a few seconds to correct myself.
Yeah.
So normally that would happen in my head.
Yeah.
And I'd say it the right way. But again, it does take practice.
Yeah.
You could see me correcting myself. Normally that conversation happens in your head. No, don't say it that way.
Yeah.
Say it this way.
Yeah. And I guess it's that conscious communication too. I've been reading a book, The Way of the Superior Man, David Dieter. Have you read that one?
Yep.
And he talks about, I guess, like open communication, like even like, your posture, deep breathing in through your entire chest, and eye contact and all that stuff. It's a real art form to openly communicating, which I'm still figuring out, obviously.
But see, it's interesting though. I feel like you communicate so well to me.
Yeah. Or maybe I don't completely suck. I give myself a little bit more credit.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I guess what to now? What do you?
Yeah. So for me, I went down the OnlyFans route as a way. My YouTube got shut down, so I went OnlyFans as a way to promote all my content, education, and entertainment. And recently there was an announcement saying that they're now not doing adult content.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, right, let's pivot. I remember as soon as I heard, I downloaded the 5 competitors. Yeah. And I wanted to make the decision pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, this is the one. And then I just started got a referral link. and I started just going for it. So
Yeah, just
sending it out,
migrating across.
making referrals, and like again, like talk about dream big. I was like straight away, I was like, I'm going to make 7 figures off this bad boy.
Yep.
And was just like, yeah, like there wasn't even a second of negativity for me. I saw it as a positive opportunity straight away.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm doing Fansly, and I'm going to do it better than what I've already done. And yeah, I guess for me, now that I've had that like little bit of a shift of like what I want to show, I can probably even do that better starting fresh, clear on any platform.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think it was a week or two ago that you'd said, hey, I've kind of gotten a little off track here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, probably shit timing for a lot of people. But yeah, I think it's something I really admire about you is to be able to see the positive spin in anything. Because, I mean, having something like that, I mean, I guess it's part of that industry. It'll change quickly.
Yeah.
And you're subject to the whims of some pretty big players. I know Pornhub had issues with Visa and MasterCard not long ago, and you kind of you're at the whim of some big guys. So pivot and
pivot. Like I'm at the stage and the mindset of like, doesn't matter what happens, I'm just going to do whatever it takes. I'm just like, I know, like kind of like we spoke about, I know I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of how.
Yep.
Yeah. And this stuff over, like I know some people that have been devastated, like literally not answered their phone for 3 days, stayed inside, like, just like totally numbing out. And like I was just like, yes, let's do this. Let's, I actually did have a moment where I was like, right, Fansly's the one. I'm going to recruit everyone to this. And then because they had never had numbers like that before, the whole site went down. and one of the things that they promote on their Twitter is no crashes.
Oh, no.
So I pulled everyone over to this site that I know, and they've crashed. And I was like, should I have taken longer to work through that? But I was like, no, it's a better platform. It's better than OnlyFans. It'll be okay. And obviously now it's fine. They've upgraded their service. But they'll take them a second to adjust and to adapt as well.
Yeah. So you'll be diving more into education stuff again?
Like literally, like I'm at the, like this blows my mind, and I think it'll blow a lot of other men's mind. I'm at the stage where I have girls contacting me every single day saying, hey, I'd love to come shoot with you. Well, have sex with you is pretty much what it is.
Happens to me.
Yeah. And they're doing that because I've got such a big following on my OnlyFans. If they get seen on mine, that will massively help their exposure.
Yeah.
So, and I've just kind of been like going around but now it's like, right, with that little bit of vision, let's every girl I shoot with, because they're all going to be so different. Some are going to be porn stars, some are going to be girls doing their first scene.
Yeah.
So they're all going to have different likes and stuff like that. And some of them will be really uncomfortable having that conversation. See, I've asked someone before, like, do you have any desires right now? And they've just gone, like, sexual, and they're just like, whatever you want. They've never even asked themselves that question, so they don't know. So just start having that conversation.
Do you think, though, some of them are in the industry as a job, for the money, for the opportunity, not necessarily? I mean, I guess it's been quite an evolution for you, and really come from a part of yourself that is a real part of you, and something that you've developed over years. And this is kind of just the next evolution of Rob the sexual being, I guess. Do you think there's people doing it that aren't quite in that space mentally or emotionally?
I'm actually looking forward to having that first person who's just like not there, because at the end of the day, I think we all want to enjoy sex. So at some stage they stopped, and they're going to have to ask themselves that question, probably on camera, or maybe leading up to, or give them a bit of a heads up. But it's like, when did you stop? When did you stop enjoying sex? And why?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, dive into that. Like, when was the last time you really enjoyed it? I'm fully aware that there will be some trauma.
Yeah.
And sometimes that might be a chance to, whether it's on camera or off camera, work through that together. Like I've been lucky that through all the tantric stuff, and like I've been to a lot of retreats where I have been present for that and like learn a little bit of that. And sometimes it's like not trying to fix, just holding space, like let them get it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let them burst it out and cry and scream or whatever. And then that might be the only way they can, work on that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be all different types. And like that's kind of the part that I'm enjoying, because that goes back to the sex coaching, right? That's what I wanted to do. That's the impact I wanted to have. And, I think that is like, I just had a bit of an epiphany there. That's like, boom, that's what I wanted to do. And like I have been lucky enough to play this amazing role for women where like I've had them cry like mid-session or something, or, and it's just like, it's such an honor to play that role. So like for me, it's like now I'm really doing the both. Before it was like I'd do a video on education, then I'd do a video on
the entertainment side.
But now I might be able to do the both together. Same video.
Really. Bring it in.
So that's probably where I'm going. Well, that is where I'm going, because I'm burning the boats. There's no other way to go.
I like that. Yeah. Ah, cool. So any other, I guess, words of wisdom from Uncle Rob?
Yeah.
What would you? I guess what would you say to what would you say to guys? What would you say to young guys? Starting out in life, that late teens, early 20s, figuring shit out, because they're alone. There's not much guidance there. What would you say to those guys?
Yeah, I think it's just very much like go within. So it's like rather than going to everywhere else, go within and like really work out what you want. Like I love the idea of sitting down with someone like you right now and just helping you see the best version of yourself. And then every time you make a decision, it's like, what would he do? Yeah. What would that guy do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the small decisions to the big ones. It's like, what would the best version of me do here? And the more you start to think of that guy, that best version of you, the clearer it gets on who he is, what type of person is he, How does he react to that? If you're thinking about that, to me, that is like you're refining that process, and that's who you're going to become.
So without flying to Nepal and doing crazy drugs, how do you think you find that best version of you? How do you think you visualize that?
I think you just close your eyes. Yeah, just before you go to bed or early in the morning, just start thinking about it. Start getting a vision of him, even to the point where it's like, what's he wearing? Where is he? Like, is he like? I remember having this vision of me. It was almost like I was on a magazine cover.
Yeah,
and it was like, what type of what was he wearing? What? And it was kind of like refining that vision of like who that guy is.
Yeah, that's what I do every day in the gym.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm Chris Bumstead.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
guess Do you know who C-Bum is? No. He's the current Mr. Olympia Classic physique. Yeah, he's a dude.
So my question to you is, can you morph the best bits of him and you to get a vision of you that
I mean? And I guess I guess it's hard to create
because you're never going to be him, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
So you're better off having a vision of you that's just jacked and like the fittest version of you, and like start focusing on that. Because because you're still going to be able to do that, but it's like achievable. So your mind will go, oh, I could never be that.
Yeah.
But if you get that vision of you that's like jacked or whatever, then it's achievable. it's like, all right, I just got to get there.
Yeah.
If I get through this set, and and then in other areas, like he'll be wealthy, he'll be whatever.
Yeah, because it's funny. I guess we all kind of operate a little bit different in some ways. Where I remember when I started going to the gym, and I was involved in a fitness group on Facebook, and I made a post on there once. I said, "Oh, does anybody else feel like they go to the gym and lift baby weights with baby muscles?" Because I stepped into this like hardcore bodybuilding, powerlifting gym. And guys are lifting like crazy shit on the daily. 250, 300 kilo deadlifts and like huge squats. And I had a whole heap of people like, oh, just like, remember you're at the beginning of your journey and like, don't compare. I'm like, oh, I'm not actually comparing. I find it inspiring. Like, looking at these guys that are, and I guess I do have that realization that at one point they were me. At one point they were, deadlifting 100 kilos, not 300 kilos. So, yeah, I guess if I kind of think about my own process for a second, I do a lot of comparison and kind of look at, not necessarily just see myself, I'll see other people that I want to be like and kind of take a bit of that. But it's probably less authentic then, isn't it? It's kind of corrupted.
Yeah, what you probably want to focus on is you being that guy that's lifting 300. And other people going, fuck, look at that, Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah. So you be that guy.
Yeah. And what do they say? Comparison's the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I walk away with something from this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think most of us have that desire to be successful or fit or, rich or loved, surrounded by family, whatever it happens to be. And, I don't think it's a process I've really been through of just allowing myself to visualize me as that person.
Yep.
Not looking at somebody else and going, wow, look at the car they've got. I'd love to be like them and have that car. Or look at the family that they have. Look at how how they're doing life.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Yeah.
And I actually heard that of Mark Wahlberg, so I won't take full credit. But the whole
Mark.
You like your hero is you in 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's always had that. Like he said that when he was 25. When he was 15, someone asked him that question.
Yeah.
And then he came back to him a week later or 2 weeks later. It was like an uncle or something. And he said, it's me when I'm 25. And then when he got to 25, he was like, the same guy asked, he's like, I'm not even close. Like, by the time I'm 35, I want to be a movie star. I want to do this, this, and this. Yeah. And he had these big dreams. And it's like, boom. Like, that's how he got there.
Yeah.
He's seen himself doing all this stuff. So.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I think you really got to, like, the best version of you needs to be that goal.
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, it's kind of cheating if you have, the Rock, because your mind is kind of like, you're never going to be the Rock. But if you have that vision of you doing it, it's like, I can fucking do that.
Yeah. It's very true. Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Mic drop. Well, thank you for sharing some wisdom with us. You're a wise man.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on. And it's great to see you kind of, I've known you for 5 or 6 years now and kind of seen the journey over that time. And it's awesome to see what you're doing, see you kicking goals and owning it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to spend some time with you. And I know you yourself, I trained with you this morning. You're smashing your ankle.
We did some shoulders.
Yeah.
Nah, it's I guess, and a bit of reason for this podcast really is I really do have a desire to be the best version of me. I'm an incredibly flawed human being, as anybody that really knows me could attest. But I have a desire to do that. And yeah, I mean, my weight loss journey, you know, it's been, I would have been a big guy when you and I first met. I would have been probably tipping the scales at close to my heaviest.
Yeah. It's so funny that like I never saw you that way. Yeah. Like, yeah. I think it's because we got along so well from the start, and I can like see your light, and you know, that
thanks,
side.
man.
But yeah, you definitely look now. Your physique matches your personality.
Thanks. Yeah, it's the whole thing's a journey. Hey, yeah,
awesome,
cool, man. Well, thank you. I'm sure everybody's gotten a lot out of that. So people want to look you up, follow you, check out what you're doing. Where do they go?
I've got one link. You just put it in the bio. It's my link tree. It'll take you to everywhere. To all the things.
So Robbie Oz Media
is my Instagram.
Yep. And your link tree's on there.
Yeah. Robbie Oz Media.
Yeah. So if you want to
entertainment, education,
what a bit
all
of,
the things. Something for everyone there.
Want to watch this guy in action?
Yeah.
Yeah. Check it out.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
See you, man.
See ya.